Hi people, it's Archivist here, and today I have Evolve for you. And I am very excited about this game. I've been looking forward to it since pretty much the start of the year. And now I finally have it in my hands. I can finally control these hulking monsters and rip apart these little pesky hunters. So, is this game good? Well, I can't really say that for certain at the moment because I've only been playing it for a bit. But I think something I can comment on is the quality of the PC ports, the PC version of this game. There's an interesting thing here because for a long time we've been having a lot of broken games on release. So when they first come out, there are several issues, stuttering, crashes, freezes, all these kind of things. Very annoying, makes you feel like you've been ripped off, completely puts you off pre-ordering for one thing. But with Evolve, so far from what I can tell, it seems to be working okay. So first of all, does this game stutter like so many other multi-platform PC ports before it? And it seems that if you play the game at reasonable settings, so appropriate for your hardware, no, the game does not stutter. It is very smooth and extremely consistent. And first of all, let me explain what I mean by stutter, because some people have different theories on what this really is. They'll say, oh, it's just a low frame rate, but I have a very specific meaning when I say stutter or micro stutter. It's when the game pauses for a split second. It's the same basic effects as when the game auto saves, but far more frequent. So far, from the roughly 3 hours I've played of this game so far, it seems fine. I can't see any stuttering issues, maybe one or two, but they're so far apart, it's in no way a drag on the gameplay. If you've played Assassin's Creed Unity or Far Cry 4, you might be aware of what I'm talking about. Even more recently, Dying Light suffers from it a little bit, but here it seems okay. And then moving on to the frame rate, and this really does depend on if you're willing to compromise just a little bit here. I've found that if I played the game on medium settings, the game runs at a very good and reliable 60 frames per second, pretty much never once dropping. I never saw it go down to 30 frames per second when playing on medium. And what's more is that medium does not look like you've compromised. It doesn't look like I've had to reduce the settings. Oh, it's quite obvious. Look at the shadows, they're not as good. The textures are a bit blurry. I didn't get that at all. It just seemed like really how the game is intended to play as. When I've looked at videos before release, they've looked like what medium settings are. You can go up to ultra and high quality, I think it's high and very high. But I didn't see much of a visual difference, but I did see quite a tremendous performance difference there. It was kind of going up and down between 60 and 30 on high, and it was going on a pretty consistent 30 on very high, and that's fine, but I didn't see much of a graphical difference to warrant that shift. I should also say something I was maybe a little disappointed in was the fact that in this game it has TXAA, which is a really effective form of anti-aliasing, but in this game it just didn't seem to make the same difference it does in games like Watch Dogs. Maybe it's just my eye a bit off this time. It may not even really matter to most people, but I found that no matter what anti-aliasing option I chose, the difference seemed pretty much the same throughout. Although to say, they all were fine, it's just TXAA can look really nice sometimes, but here it just didn't seem to make much of a meaningful difference. So I wouldn't recommend choosing it if you're using an Nvidia card, which should have that option available. So I think Evolve is a game that you should be willing to compromise on a little bit, but don't feel that you're going to have to make the game look ugly, just a little worse than... I mean, hey, look, if you've got really good hardware, you don't have to, but if you've got, like me, like what am I using? I'm using a GTX 770, Intel i7, 16 gigabytes of RAM. I mean, that's a pretty decent setup, not the best out there anymore, but if you have something similar to that, then expect a good experience in terms of frame rate. Do keep in mind that I am using a 360 controller just in case you're wondering about why there are Xbox button prompts on the screen. This is, I assure you, the PC version of the game. So I've chosen to focus on the PC port side of things because that is quite important, I think, when you're talking about a new release these days. But I would like to just give my general first impressions also of the solo experience of Evolve. Something I was very concerned about before playing this game was whether or not the solo experience would be even there or if it would be any good, if it was just tacked on. and it seems fairly decent. I'm using it at the moment as a kind of training mode. Because this concept is fairly new to me, I don't want to jump in at the deep end and start going into these team games and letting everyone down because I have no idea what I'm doing. I want to grow accustomed to the game's mechanics, and the solo experience not only allows you to do that, but it has loads of options. You've got this mode called evacuation mode, and in this, what will happen is, depending on whether you've chosen the monster or the hunter, if you win or lose a match, the next match that comes after it will have a certain effect on it. So something they explained in the tutorial was, if you were a monster and you managed to destroy the core relay, in the next map there would be like this toxic overflow that would hurt the hunters. But if the hunters won, then there would be turrets in the next map that would hurt the monster. So it gives you an incentive to keep doing well, to try and keep up this momentum. I've also noticed that you have to unlock the monsters, so I've only got the Goliath so far, but you have to do particularly well as the Goliath to unlock the Kraken and the Wraith as well. But I'm not complaining too much about that, because A, it gives you an incentive to keep playing, and B, the Goliath is an awesome monster. It's bizarrely relatable in that its biology, its makeup is almost gorilla-like in its movements. It's also got aspects of a lizard as well. It's a bit of a mashup, to be fair, a bit of a hybrid, but there's a very natural look to the way it moves. It doesn't seem awkward at all. I think my favourite ability it has is its flame breath, if only for the visual look. I've got a feeling they spent a lot of time making that flame effect look good. It does look very nice. I imagine it's actually nicer to look at if you're the hunter though, because then you can see it coming at you, but if you're the monster, you've got the back view, so you can only see a bit of it. But there are a decent selection of abilities, and I do like the evolving mechanic itself, because what you have to do is you have to go around killing these small monsters while trying to evade the hunters in the earlier stages. And as you accumulate, I don't know, like biomass, whatever it's called in this game, you can eventually evolve. So you have to go to a little secluded position. You can select to upgrade some of your abilities, and you get a bit stronger, have more health, generally a better monster. So at this junction, that's what I have to say about Evolve. I think what I'm going to do for the review on this game, because I would really like to review it at some point, is to really take my time with it, learn the mechanics, so I actually have some good tips, some good meaningful tips to share with you guys. I'm going to keep playing it for sure. I'm really having a lot of fun, the most fun I've had in a while. I will say this though, do not expect what I'd call a marathon gaming experience, because I think when a game comes out and you're really looking forward to it, you expect to be able to invest hour upon hour upon hour on it. Like Skyrim, for example, did that very well. But I think Evolve is the kind of game that you might be more inclined to play in short bursts, but you'll keep coming back to it over and over. It's a very fun experience, but I can imagine that after a few matches it might get a bit samey, but you would then take a break and come back to it later. I just think it's such a good game for the kind of thing where you would say, you know what, I'm going to have a couple of mates around, we're going to play a bit of Evolve. That sounds like a lot of fun. So those are my first impressions of Evolve, and do hopefully look out for a review in the future as well on this channel. As always, people, thanks very much for watching, and see you next time.